Making the backing for the case is exactly the same as it is for making the front. Cut it down to size, give it a good sanding. The vacuum form cases that I've made were designed to fit very precisely, but only at specific heights. The front of the case needs to be exactly 20mm high, and for the backing piece needs to be exactly 34mm high. That means that the complete top to bottom will be 54mm, very, very easy to hold. The case halves can be secured by the use of tiny teeth, which effectively are just small plastic offcuts, one glued at the top pressing against the bottom, one at the bottom pressing against the top in sequence. That then keeps the case nicely together, and with the benefit of just using 4 screws, probably in the recesses here and in here, it will actually keep everything nice and tightly together. The hole in here is for the cartridge slot. I've designed it so that the cartridge will go in this ways, so that most of the game will show. And to illustrate its sizing, it will actually go in as such. The best time for doing these teeth is effectively before you've put anything into the system, because it's very easy now to get around and do what you need to thanks to the screen window and also through the backing piece. If you leave it till later, it's much harder to perform that action. Talking of the case, I think I've covered this before. Very easy to hold, very easy to grip, and easy to get to all the buttons. These of course are the C buttons, and these will be the A and the B. I've got to put more holes in the case yet for power, audio, video lead, things of that sort of nature, but I want to try and get the edges done nice and smoothly first. In order to get them nice and smooth, just use some sellotape or something similar to then leave a nice edge. This is a piece I did a short while ago, and by turning it you can see there's no lip. It's very, very smooth. Now just working on the side, just with a sanding block, one of these nice flexible ones, does the job really well. Hold it in position, give it a good sanding until it's all nice and smooth. In regards to decals, I've used water slide decals before. They seem to work okay, but they can rub off. Alternatively, I've used some self-adhesive glossy white paper, and you get some very good effects with it. The only downside to it is it's not particularly great for very, very small work, for example, like naming the A and the B buttons on a controller. I have, however, decided on this project not to use any decals. All the buttons are very self-explanatory. This, however, was taken from the logo on the N64 itself. Just pop it out with a screwdriver, and then I sanded it down to reveal the actual logo, and then use a black CD marker pen along the outside and just stuck it on with some Yoo-hoo glue. In regards to spray painting, very good idea to use a primer before you start painting. It just ensures that the spray paint will stick on a lot better. You can use Cryon Fusion, but I can't seem to get it in the UK, so I'm using the Plastic Coat range, which is a very good quality source of paint. This is the one I use for the main case, and then you've got 2 types of varnish to secure the paint. There is super, but it can rub off after a course of time, whereas what I found is, although the effect is slightly mottled, the crystal clear does actually keep the case sealed. The paint does stay on far better. Another good one to use is the metallic black. There's a very, very slight silvery look, and that uses a metallic sealer in order again to keep it stuck onto the case better. It works very well. In fact, I used it on a controller recently, and despite lots of rubbing my finger along the buttons to see if it would rub off, it didn't. Good stuff. So a typical application would be, for example, to apply 2 coats of this primer, 3 or 4 coats of the base paint, and then 2 good quality coats of the crystal clear. Then the case looks nice and smooth, it looks nice and sheeny, and also the paint shouldn't rub off through normal wear and tear. It will do eventually, of course, but not for some time. Okay, voice isn't quite so good today, not feeling particularly well. Anyway, this is the case so far. It's held together by 4 screws, 2 here and 2 on the sides, and these 2 actually don't get in the way because it forms a slight bridge between the fingers as you hold the case. The case itself, as you see, is very smooth, and it's actually slightly better red colour than portrayed in this video, but yeah, it does the job. That's the joystick, the D-pad, start button, A and B, and the C buttons. On the back there's the Z, the 2 shoulder buttons, like here and here, and the 2 speaker grills. I did those actually from a piece of perf board, putting it exactly in place, putting the drill through there and onto the plastic, and just letting it spin very quickly to go through the plastic. That stops it from slipping. In fact, you can see some of the details I've got here to make sure it was all nice and central. The next job will be to make this cartridge slot functional and look quite nice. The only other thing I haven't mentioned so far are these 3. This is the on-off, that's a headphone jack, and this is a multi-port. It's actually off the PlayStation 1 screen, and the idea is that that port will assist in the recharging of the batteries, the screen controls, the audio, and also for an external controller, which will all be covered in due course. If you don't want to use a vacuum forming case, a nice cheap way is to use a Tupperware box. This is a 2 litre one. These sides are very strong. It's the top that's the problem. As you see here, it's curved inwards, it's got markings on it, it's not as strong enough as it should be. So if you cut along the edge and then secure with hot glue a piece of perspex 2mm or 3mm in thickness, that provides a very strong case. That's what I actually used for the Dreamcast project. It also means, of course, if you've got 2 identical cases, that the sides will perfectly match, because of course it's used from the same mould. So therefore you can make a very seamless, integrated, professional looking case, even with just a Tupperware box. The advantage of this, of course, is it's very cheap, it's very easy to make, and of course when you need to buy some more, just go down to your local store and get some more.